It's 2 a.m. You wake up because you're cold. Not uncomfortable cold, actually cold. You pull the blanket tighter, but it doesn't help. Something's wrong. You check your phone. 3 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Blizzard warning through tomorrow. And when you walk past the thermostat, you see it. The display is completely dark. Or it's showing a number that makes your stomach drop. 54 degrees Fahrenheit and falling. Your furnace is dead. The house is losing heat every single minute. And here's the thing nobody tells you about winter emergencies. You don't have days to figure this out. You don't even have a full day. You've got maybe 12 hours before your house becomes genuinely dangerous, before pipes freeze and burst, before hypothermia becomes a real threat instead of something you read about happening to other people. And right now, at 2 a.m., during a blizzard, there's no HVAC tech coming to save you. There's no emergency service that's going to prioritize your house over the 500 other houses with the same problem. It's just you, a house that's bleeding heat, and the very real possibility that you're about to learn what cold actually means. So here's what you do. Not theory, not maybe this works. This is the actual playbook for when your heat dies and you're on your own.
First, let's talk about what's actually happening, because understanding this changes how you respond. Your house loses about 1 to 2 degrees per hour when the heat's off. Doesn't sound like much, right? But here's the reality check. You're starting at maybe 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit inside. Outside, it's 3 degrees Fahrenheit. Do the math. In 12 hours, your house drops 12 to 24 degrees. You're looking at an interior temperature in the 40s. That's refrigerator temperature. You're living inside a fridge. And it gets worse, because that's just the average. Rooms on exterior walls, they drop faster. Bathrooms with exterior pipes, even faster. That guest bedroom nobody uses, that's hitting freezing temperatures by hour 8. Here's what nobody tells you. The danger isn't the cold itself, it's what the cold does to your house while you're trying to stay warm. Pipes freeze at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. When water freezes, it expands. When it expands inside copper or PVC pipe, the pipe splits. And when that pipe thaws, you've got water pouring into your walls, your ceilings, your floors. A single burst pipe can cause $5,000 to $10,000 in damage, and that's if you catch it early. If you don't notice until the walls are soaked, you're looking at mold, structural damage, total renovation territory. So yeah, you're not just trying to stay warm, you're trying to save your house from destroying itself. Okay, it's still 2 a.m. You're cold. The thermostat's dead. Here's your first move. And it's not what you think. Don't immediately try to fix the furnace. Don't start Googling furnace troubleshooting on your phone. That comes later. First priority, contain the damage that's happening right now. Go to every sink in your house. Kitchen, bathrooms, laundry room, basement utility sink. Turn them on. Let them drip. Not running, just a steady drip. 1 drop every few seconds. Moving water doesn't freeze. That drip keeps water moving through the pipes. It's the difference between waking up to working plumbing versus waking up to a burst pipe flooding your bathroom. Next, open the cabinet doors under every sink. Why? Because that's where your pipes are, and cabinets are cold dead zones. Opening those doors lets warm air, whatever warm air you have left, circulate around the pipes. Now, check your water main. You need to know where it is and how to shut it off. Because if a pipe does burst, you've got about 60 seconds to stop the water before your house floods. Find it now while you're thinking clearly, not later when you're panicking. Here's the move nobody thinks about. Close off rooms you don't need. You've got, what, a 1,500 square foot house? 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, living room, kitchen, dining room? You don't need all of that. You need 1 room, maybe 2 if you're not alone. Pick your smallest interior room, one with no exterior walls if possible. Bedroom, bathroom, doesn't matter. That's your survival room. Close the door. Stuff towels under the gap at the bottom. You're creating a heat bubble. Instead of trying to keep a whole house at 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you're keeping one small room at 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Same amount of heat, way smaller space. And here's the thing, this actually works. A closed room with body heat and maybe a single heat source, you can keep that comfortable for days. All right, you've contained the damage. Pipes are dripping, rooms are closed off. Now let's talk about actually generating heat. First rule, never use your gas oven as a heater. I know you've heard about it. I know your aunt did it once during a power outage. Don't. Gas ovens produce carbon monoxide. In a small enclosed space, with the door closed and windows shut because it's freezing, you're creating a suicide chamber. It'll keep you warm for about an hour before you get drowsy and never wake up. So yeah, oven stays off. Here's what you actually do, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but it works. Candles. Tea light candles. Not one, not two, we're talking 20 to 30 tea lights grouped together in a metal pan or on a brick. Here's the physics. One candle produces about 80 watts of heat. 30 candles? That's 2,400 watts. That's a small space heater. Will it heat your whole house? Number. Will it keep a small room tolerable? Absolutely. You set them up in your survival room. You keep them away from anything flammable. You don't leave them unattended. And you crack a window about 1 inch for ventilation. If you've got a fireplace, now's the time. But here's what most people don't know. Fireplaces are actually terrible at heating houses. They look cozy, they feel warm when you're right in front of them, but most of the heat goes straight up the chimney. You're pulling cold air from the rest of your house to feed the fire and sending all the warm air outside. Here's the fix. Close off the room with the fireplace. Open the flue, light the fire, and stay in that room. You're not heating the house, you're heating one space. If you've got a camping stove, the kind with the little butane canisters, that's a heat source too. Light it, let it run for 10 to 15 minutes, turn it off. Repeat every hour or two. It's not much, but in a small, closed room, it makes a difference. And obviously, crack that window. Carbon monoxide doesn't care how cold you are. Here's something wild. You are a heat source. Your body produces about 100 watts of heat just existing. If you're moving around, 200 to 300 watts. You're a small space heater that runs on leftovers. So layer up. And I don't mean throw on a hoodie. I mean actually layer. Base layer, synthetic or wool, not cotton. Cotton traps moisture and makes you colder. Synthetic wicks it away. Mid layer, fleece, wool sweater, something that insulates. Outer layer, windbreaker, jacket, something that traps the warm air close to your body. And don't forget your head. You lose 10% of your body heat through your head. Wear a beanie, even inside, even in bed, especially in bed. Speaking of bed, this is going to sound extreme, but if you're alone, you sleep in your sleeping bag, if you've got one. If you don't have a sleeping bag, you pile every blanket you own onto your bed and you burrito yourself in there. If there's multiple people, you sleep in the same room. Body heat stacks. 2 people in a small room generate twice the heat. It's awkward, it's weird, it works. And here's the move that sounds insane, but is actually genius. Fill bottles with hot water. Before bed, boil water. Fill a couple Nalgene bottles or any container that won't melt. Wrap them in towels so they don't burn you. Put them in your sleeping bag, under your blankets, between layers.
They're hot water bottles. Your grandmother knew this trick because it works. They stay warm for 4 to 6 hours. You wake up in the middle of the night, refill them. It's a pain. It's also the difference between shivering all night and actually sleeping. Okay, let's talk about the real danger. Because it's not what you think. You're not going to freeze to death in your house, not unless it gets genuinely extreme, like below zero outside for multiple days and you do nothing. What's actually dangerous is making stupid decisions because you're cold and tired and desperate. Carbon monoxide poisoning kills people every winter, not because they don't know it's dangerous, but because they think just for a little bit is safe. Running a generator in your garage with the door closed, that's suicide. Burning charcoal indoors for heat, same thing. Using a propane heater without ventilation, you're gambling with your life. These things kill you quietly. You get drowsy. You lie down. You don't wake up. And the worst part? It feels like you're just tired. You don't realize you're dying. So here's the rule. Any fuel-burning heat source needs ventilation. A window cracked, a door open, airflow. I don't care how cold it is. I don't care how much you think just this once is fine. Crack the window. Being cold sucks. Being dead is worse. All right, you've made it through the night. The sun's up. The blizzard is still dumping snow. Your house is still cold. Here's the reality. This might not be fixed today or tomorrow. Winter emergencies don't resolve quickly. So you need to think about food and water. If your pipes are still flowing, fill every container you have. Pots, bottles, pitchers, the bathtub. Because if those pipes freeze, your water is gone. For food, you're eating cold meals now. Peanut butter sandwiches, granola, canned fruit, anything that doesn't require cooking. If you have a camping stove, you can heat up soup, but you're rationing that fuel. Every canister is precious. And here's the thing about being cold. You burn more calories. Your body is working harder to stay warm, so eat more than you normally would, even if you're not hungry. Now, let's talk about when you actually need to leave. If the inside temperature drops below 40 degrees Fahrenheit and you can't get it back up, it's time to go. That's the point where you're risking real hypothermia. That's the point where your house is genuinely dangerous. Go to a warming center. Go to a friend's house. Go to a hotel if there's power somewhere else in town. Don't be the person who toughs it out and ends up in the hospital with frostbite or worse. So why does your furnace die during a blizzard? Turns out there's actual reasons. Number 1. Frozen condensate lines. Modern furnaces are efficient, which means they produce condensation. That moisture drains through a pipe. In extreme cold, that pipe freezes. Furnace shuts down. Number 2. Pilot light goes out. Wind during a storm can blow it out, or it just goes out because furnaces are finicky. Number 3. Power flickers. Even for a second, that resets the furnace, and sometimes it doesn't restart automatically. Number 4. Your furnace is old and chose the worst possible moment to die. Because of course it did. Furnaces have a sense of timing. They never die on a nice spring day when repair trucks are available. They die at 2 a.m. during a blizzard. But here's the good news. Sometimes it's an easy fix. Check your circuit breaker. See if the furnace breaker tripped. Flip it back on. Check your thermostat batteries if it's battery-powered. Dead batteries equal dead heat. Check your air filter. A clogged filter can shut the whole system down.
These are the stupid, simple fixes that sometimes work. But if none of that works, don't keep trying to fix it yourself. You're not an HVAC tech, and you could make it worse. Here's where you are right now. Your heat's dead. You're cold. The blizzard's still going, and you're doing everything you can with what you have. But you've got your pipes dripping, you've closed off rooms, you've got your heat sources set up safely, you're layered up, you've got water stored. You're not comfortable, but you're surviving. And that's actually impressive. Most people panic. They make dangerous choices. They don't think clearly because they're too focused on being cold. You did the smart thing. You kept the pipes from bursting. You prevented carbon monoxide poisoning. You created a warm bubble in one room instead of trying to heat the whole house. Is this how you wanted to spend your week? No, but you're handling it. When the storm clears and the repair trucks can finally get through, you'll get your heat back. Your house will warm up. Your pipes will be fine because you kept them dripping. You won't have thousands in water damage because you were smart. And next winter, you'll have supplies ready. Candles, water, extra blankets, a plan. Because you've learned something most people never have to learn. Your house's heat isn't a guarantee. It's a luxury that can disappear in an instant. But now you know what to do when it does. What survival scenario should we cover next? Let us know in the comments.